Alright guys, OCD for EDC here, back with another knife for you. And what we've got here today is another TwoSun knife. This is a night morning design. This one happens to be an M390, as you can see right there. And this one does not have the TwoSun logo on the blade, but it does have it here on the handle. This happens to be the TS-130. And here recently I've kind of been interested in slip joints that I guess you could call them modern traditionals, come with a pocket clip, which is pretty fantastic. So anyway, let's get into it here, and we'll start off with a few size comparisons. So here is the Spyderco Manix 2. We have also got the Spyderco Para 3 lightweight. We've got a Benchmade bug out for those that are familiar. And you know what? Let's pull out another. Here's another TwoSun slip joint in M390, also a night morning design. This is the TS-164. It's a great knife. I actually just did cut testing with this knife that I put up over the weekend. So if you want to check out and see how that one did, check out my other videos and you'll see cut testing. So as you can see, we're talking about a fairly decent sized knife. Not huge, but you know, a good EDC size. So what we're looking at, overall length here, we've got 7 7/8 inches, so a little under 8 inches. We got a handle length of 4 1/4. We have a blade length of 3 5/8. You've got a handle thickness of just under 1/2 inch. It actually measures 480 thousandths or 12.5 millimeter if you're metric. We got a blade stock thickness of 150 thousandths, so it's like 3.8 millimeter. And then it is a flat ground blade, and it comes down to a behind the edge thickness that ranges a little bit from about 22 to 24 thousandths. So you know, a pretty nice EDC as far as behind the edge thickness. You know, pretty comparable to most Spyderco stuff or most EDC pieces out there. This is titanium handle. It is black coated. I'm not really sure what the coating is exactly, but it does have kind of a tumbled finish. You can see the edges are almost worn a little bit, so I don't know if it's like a PVD coating or DLC or something that's then been tumbled, but you know, it's nicely done. There's not a whole lot of texturing. You do have this kind of fuller that runs down the handle here, and then you've got the holes in there that are just for visual effect. And then you do have this jimping on the spine, but as you can see, it doesn't protrude above the spine. So when you grip the knife, you know, it's a really neutral grip, and you've got just a very small amount of jimping right up here. And so it is a very usable forward choil. And guys, I have BFHs, so you know, this thing does work well in my hand. And yeah, it's just a really nice EDC. You do have this fuller that runs pretty much the entire length of the blade, but all of the edges on this guy are really well chamfered. Nothing sharp on the blade except for the cutting edge. Even the inside edges of this fuller, generally speaking, from other manufacturers, that's really sharp in there. This is not. All these edges have been softened and chamfered slightly. You also have a hidden pocket clip there, or hidden hardware, I mean, pocket clip, which is really nice. So it's just a standard two screw construction. And I really like the way TwoSun's been doing their slip joints. They have this the spring bar in the back that provides the tension has this rounded area on it at the end. So you do have a really nice positive half stop. And if I go past that, you can see the machine portion there. So the tang of the blade is just a round circle, and you've got an indent there to keep it closed. So you do have good retention. It's not a terribly hard pull to get it open, but you do have that kind of, spring closed action. And then once you hit the half stop, it's pretty well locked in that position. Certainly not difficult to use, but definitely just a really nice kind of EDC slip joint. Yeah, so let's get into it here a little bit. Per tradition here, with all the TwoSun knives, you got T8 hardware for the body screw and for the pivot. So I have not pulled this thing apart yet, so let's see what we're working with. And I'm probably not going to fully disassemble this, but I'm at least going to take the one side off, and boy, that thing's tight. Wow. Good Lord. That son-of-a-bitch is crazy tight. Hence the reason why I haven't disassembled it. So, alright. I did get the other side to pop loose here. Oh. Alright. There we go. So, I did get the hardware out. I probably could have released some of that tension by opening the blade, I guess. So, let's see if we can pop this apart here. There we go. Alright. So, as you can see here, riding on phosphor bronze washers. And there's even some weight relieving in there, which I'm kind of surprised about, honestly. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to do was weigh this thing. We'll do that when it gets back together here. But there you can see the hidden screw for the pocket clip. And, it's just a nice feature. Something you don't see on, generally speaking, on knives that are inexpensive. You do have a blade stop pin here, so in the closed position, let's see if I can do this here. In the closed position, that's going to bottom out, yep, right there. So that's kind of what I figured. So that keeps the edge of the blade from hitting the back spacer, or the back spring, if you will. So let me open this back up. There we go. So if it's not too much tension, I might, here, let's see if we can do this. Yeah, I don't have another tool over here. I was going to pull the blade off. There we go. So, as you can see, the phosphor bronze washer there for both sides. And so that's what the tang of the blade looks like. And again, guys, this guy here is, flip that around, M390. And with the cut testing that I just did, the TwoSun M390 performed extremely well. Better than expected, that's for sure. Compared to a lot of the M390 that's out on the market these days, it's yeah, did extremely well. So I may have to grab another tool here. Hold on just one second. Let me grab a shitty knife that I don't care about here. No, I may have to flip that around. I should have been a little more prepared and grabbed an actual pry tool, but this is what I had handy. Get in there, you little bastard. So, kids, don't do that at home. Alright. There we go. Now we're back together. So, yeah, pretty simple construction. You can see the weight relieving done. It's pocketed on both sides, which is really nicely done. You know, for a slip joint knife, you know, I do like the aesthetic of this knife. It's a good looking knife and is extremely functional. It's got a nice kind of, I don't know what you would want to call this blade, if it's a Warncliffe-ish kind of a thing. But you know, it's not, obviously, it does have belly to it, but yeah, I don't know, modified Warncliffe or, yeah, something. Sheep's foot, I guess. But let me get this other screw put back in here. And there wasn't any Loctite on the screws. They just, that one was just extremely tight. Let's see what we got here. No blade play at all. I could probably stand to loosen that up just a little bit. Oh, now I got a little bit of blade play. There we go. Yeah, excellent. So, as you can see, TwoSun just does a really great job. I've been super impressed with all of their stuff, guys. I actually saw here just very recently that White Mountain Knives is going to start carrying TwoSun knives, so you don't have to go on eBay or Amazon anymore. You can see blade centering is perfect. This thing carries extremely well in the pocket. You know, it is canted off to the right just a little bit. It is right side tip up carry only. But because of the way that the knife kind of curves that direction, and so you've got this really nice smooth area where your hand slides past it. You know, it almost just disappears in the pocket for, you know, more than a 3.5-inch blade. Yeah, it just carries extremely well. Pocket clip has good retention, has a good enough ramp on it, goes in and out of pocket extremely well. It's just, you know, just a really, really great knife. Machining on it is exactly what I've come to expect with TwoSun. All the edges nicely chamfered, nice machined hardware, nice two screw construction, simple to take apart. You know, I just don't have enough good things to say about TwoSun. For the money, it's quite shocking, the level of quality and the materials, and done well. I mean, the cut test I did, I know there's some other M390 out there that may have outperformed. I know Gerald over at Outpost 76 has got a pair of a PM2 that is in M390 that is just a beast. I don't think the TwoSuns did quite that good, but they did extremely well, especially for what they cost. You know, I think you can pick this knife up right here for, I don't know, 70, somewhere between, I'm going to say $60 and $80, depending on where you buy it from. So for a titanium construction with a nice pocket clip, machining extremely well done. You can see there's no misalignment there across any of those, you know, kind of decorative. I don't even know that I'd really call it jimping. I think it's really there just for aesthetic value. But as you can see, the machining is just really, really well done. You do have just kind of slight jimping on the back of that tension bar there. Just really, really well done. And then the jimping here on the underneath side of that finger choil. You know, the finger choil does get your finger really close to the blade, but it does work well, you know. This is not a hard use knife. I don't consider any slip joints to be a really hard use knife. So, you know, generally I'm using kind of that first knuckle there when I'm going to do something, or I'm going to do kind of a draw cut like this with my finger on top of the blade. Because the handle's so neutral, you've got just a lot of options here. You know, you can pinch up on it and really get detailed. You've got this really kind of nice flat area where the corners are all really well chamfered, so it's really comfortable to, you know, put a finger anywhere along there, put your thumb up on there. It's just yeah, anyone that's wanting to try out a slip joint or a modern traditional, you know, I'm not a fan of having the slips hanging around in the bottom of my pocket, so I'm always looking for something with a pocket clip. And you know, TwoSun has a few different offerings that are slip joints with a pocket clip, and they're really fantastic. This knife here, the 164, is a fantastic knife as well. Goes in and out of pocket extremely well. You can see there is quite a size difference between the two, although the 164 is a little thicker, which works out extremely well, and because of that forward choil, it works really well also. So check it out. I've actually done a couple of different videos. This is a great knife. So either one of these I would highly recommend. And there's a few other slip joint options that I'll have on the channel here before too long as well. Oh, one thing we didn't do is get the weight in here. So let's switch that over to ounces. There you go, 3.9. So for a 3 3/4 inch blade, full titanium frame, 3.9 ounces. Just a fantastic knife, guys. So anyway, check it out if you're interested. TwoSun TS-130. It's a good one. M390 titanium. Awesome pocket clip. There you go, guys. So that's all I got for your face balls this time around. And thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you next time.